مغلولة إلى عنقك ولا تبسطها كل البسط فتقعد ملوما محسورا.
One thing you're missing is, what do you think?
I guess the condition is that you can't even establish the thing in the first place.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, good. You can't establish it in the first place. And Rukn, pillar?
It's like you're doing it, but then that invalidates the transaction of what you're doing. So when you're praying salah, if you miss ruku, for example, then that invalidates the salah, but you were still praying salah up until that moment.
So
But if you don't have wudu, then the salah is non-existent.
Yeah, so basically a condition is something which is not part of that thing itself. It is something that has to be, that is already required. It's a precondition for this thing to be valid in itself, but it's not part of that itself. So wudu is required for salah, but it's not part of salah, right? And what is rukn? Rukn is something part of that action itself, which is required. And if that's missing, the action is not there. So a rukn, when I say a rukn of the business transaction, meaning it has to be part of that transaction itself. So the last pillar is acceptance. There has to be consent, right? Consent. There has to be a consent from the seller and the buyer to enter into that transaction. Now, this consent can be verbal or it can be written. Verbal, or it can be just by action. Like there's evidence of consent. All right. So, for example, in a grocery store, even if I don't talk to this shop owner and I just get something, put it on the table, on the counter, and he just tells me $5.75, I pay, right? Or he doesn't even say $5.75. It just shows up on the debit machine. I pay, take my stuff, and go. Was there consent? Was there consent? There was consent, even though it was not verbal or it was not written. In the court of law, it will stand as consent, because all the actions that just took place put together could not have been possible without consent, right? So in the court of law, this will stand as consent. Okay, perfect. And is the voice clear? Yeah. All right, perfect. So from the definition, we said it's there. We have 5 pillars. We mentioned that. That's the definition itself. And a transaction, a business transaction, can be a currency trade where there are 2 prices being traded. There's no product or service, but you can even say, yeah, so there are 2 prices being traded, but still there are 2 prices of value or 2 items of value. So that it's either a currency trade, what we call bear sum, or it's a barter. You're trading 2 services or 2 products, right? Oranges for apples, you're trading something. Or it's a regular purchase where there's 1 price or a cash or a currency traded for a product or service. We mentioned the pillars, and then let's go to the conditions. So we mentioned pillars, right? You need to keep remember these, because after this, then you will know why mentioning the pillars and conditions is very important. Conditions. Conditions, as we said, they're not part of a business trade, but without them, that trade will be nullified. Okay, the first condition we mentioned here, as we already said, the product or service must not be prohibited. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna Allah, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, that Inna Allah, idha harrama shay'an, harrama thamana. That if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prohibited something, He has also prohibited its price. A Sahabi came to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, said and told him, this was when khamr, when alcohol became haram. And one Sahabi came to the Prophet and said, Ya Rasulullah, everyone's throwing the alcohol away. What everyone knows, right? That at that time, they threw all the alcohol away, right? It was all thrown. One of the Sahabi said, Ya Rasulullah, ala nattaqiduhu khillan? Should we not make vinegar from it rather than wasting it? فَنَهَا Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam an dhalik. He prohibited from doing that. He said, no, throw them away. Even if it could have been used for economical and financial benefit, we could have, rather than wasting it, we could have used all that alcohol to make vinegar and sell it. We could have, right? But the Prophet said, don't do that. And that's why there was, like they say, a river of alcohol that was running through Medina for a few days once when alcohol became haram. Another hadith that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, and Jabir ibn Abdullah says, on Yom al-Fath, on the day of the conquest of Makkah, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Inna Allah harrama bay' al-khinziri wal-maytati wal-asnami." That Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that Allah has prohibited the selling of khinzir, pork, dead meat, and what do you call it? Statues or that are worshipped, right? Wal-asnam. Then in this, a Sahabi said, "Ya Rasulullah, what do you think or what do you say about the fat of dead meat? Like there's fat there as well. We could use that to light up our torches, and we could use them also to clean up stuff or use it for soap. They would use it to clean up the skin and stuff." The Prophet ﷺ said, "La huwa haram." No, it is prohibited. Okay, so there are a lot of ahadith that show that if one thing is prohibited, whether it's eating or anything, it's just prohibited. The use of it is prohibited in general, whether it's used is eating or any other thing. Then any money that you can get or any financial benefit you can get from it is also prohibited. Okay, if tattooing is prohibited, then any price you receive for it will also be prohibited. Okay, if magic is prohibited, same thing. If what do you call it? Fortune telling is prohibited, same thing. And then Rasulullah, to make it even clearer, he ends this hadith by saying that the curse of Allah was on the Yahud, because when Allah prohibited something for them, they would say that we are not eating it. They would still use it. Jamaluha wa bayi'uha wa akalu thamana. Rather, what they would do, they would say that, oh, we are not eating it, but we will just use it. We will sell it to those who can eat it, and then they will take the money of it. All right. So this shows us one more thing. Is it permissible if I run a restaurant? Can I sell haram and halal meat both? I'm not allowed to. Okay. So the hadith are very clear on it, and that's the first condition. I'm not allowed to. I can't say that fine Muslims. I'm not selling it to Muslims. I'm selling it to Yahud and Nasara, to people who can eat it. The item is prohibited. It's not who you're selling it is prohibited. So clarify what is prohibited exactly. It is that item itself. So if I'm selling it to someone who can eat it or who wants it or whatever, it doesn't make the difference. The difference is because the item is prohibited itself. So that is number one. I'll take questions on this later as well. Then number two, and there's a few other hadith on that as well, but that's fine. It's clear. The second condition, the seller must have possession or ownership of what he is selling. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Hakim ibn Hizam came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said, "Ya Rasulullah, there's a man, he comes to me, or he came to me and he is telling me to sell him a product. Walam yaji'ani. However, I still have not received it yet. Should I sell it to him?" The Prophet said, La tabi' ma laysa 'indak. No, do not sell what you do not possess. All right. The Prophet said that until and unless you possess something, you can only sell something you already possess or you have in your pocket. All right. So I can sell you this phone only after I have possession of it. Can I sell it when I don't have possession of it, but I expect to get it? I'm expecting to get it, and then I sell it already to you. I tell you that, hey, see, Ali or Hamza, I'm expecting to get a shipment of 10 phones or iPhones. I'm selling it to you for this much. I still didn't get it. It's not been shipped to me yet. I still didn't get full possession or ownership of that item yet. Can I sell it? I cannot. But then this raises a question though. What about Amazon then? If I'm selling stuff on Amazon, a lot of Amazon sellers, they don't possess what they have yet. So they are selling items, and after they close a deal, then they order the shipping company to ship that item to them so that they can give it to the customer. That's how Amazon sales, majority of it works. What do you think?
Yeah.
Haram? Go ahead.
Don't they have a warehouse where they store the product? So
They do, but sometimes, yeah, they do. I even confirmed this as well. They say that we store the product, but sometimes they don't have it. Sometimes they don't have it because, like small Amazon sellers, what happens is that they don't have money to buy that item itself, right? So they're still waiting, especially if they're selling big items, like they're selling laptops or big computers or stuff like that. So they wait for someone to actually pay the money. They say that, all right, wait, let me actually first secure a deal. So this guy pays them, they get the payment, $1,000, then they go and buy that item for 700, and then they give it to the guy.
Maybe because the buyer already expects this as part of the service, I know they expect it, so this seller is the middleman who will get me the item. That
Yeah.
makes sense, shit. So, the purchase and the shipping is part of the deal.
But he's not middleman though. He is the seller himself. Middleman would mean that he's an agent. He's an agent to someone else, agent to who? He is the seller. He is the seller on Amazon. He is the one who is getting the money. A middleman would be someone who is getting a commission, like a marketer, a salesperson, but he's not that. A middleman would be that if I am selling on Amazon, I'm a big seller, and I hire someone that, you know what, I can't do this, you just do it, I'll pay you a commission. Now he's the middleman, but I'm still the seller. I am. Amazon is a platform. Amazon is not the seller. Amazon is just a platform there.
Usually there's two types of sales. I used to do this a long time ago. There's SBA fulfilled by Amazon. So I would buy products and I would send it to Amazon.
Yeah.
And they would sell that for me, and that's why Amazon Prime, like a week ago, I ordered something and the same day it came. So that was already pre-bought. But I think what you're talking about is things that are still in China, for example. And
Yeah.
it's still at the factory, correct?
Exactly, yeah. So we'll talk about this more in detail. Well, I'll talk about Amazon just and selling, but don't reach a conclusion yet that is it halal or haram. As I said, there's so many points. This is just the beginning, right? I'm just mentioning to you first the basic conditions that you memorize these. After that, then what can be an exception? How can it be an exception? Why is it an exception? Do we have evidence for it to be an exception? Those things we'll talk about. But right now, the basic is this. Someone wanted to say something. Go ahead.
So being the middleman is, like if you're an agent of someone that's selling an item and getting a commission of it, that's.
For your services, yeah, of course. Like a salesperson, marketing, you are doing a job and you are getting paid for your job. That's basically what it is. The payment of your job is defined by different terms. Either it is that you are getting a fixed salary or you're getting a percentage of something, percentage of how much profit comes in or like that, right? But it's fine. That's no problem. But don't ask too many questions because some of them will be answered as well. But go ahead.
So if you know that the seller is doing haram, like selling something that he doesn't own, does that become prohibited for the buyer as well?
We'll talk about this.
Okay.
That's gonna come. Go ahead.
I have a quick question, like, if you sell something like from an accounting perspective, like free of base shipping or free of base shipping, right? So like, I still own the good in transit, does that make it? Like,
You own the good that is in transit.
if I'm selling something like Amazon says Amazon owns it in transit, if it gets destroyed, it's their like loss, right? Does that make it halal?
Make what halal?
So like, let's say Amazon is like selling something and it's their good until it gets to you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, is that halal or is like free of base shipping, like, if it leaves my shipping point, like, I no longer have responsibility? Like,
So you're saying, is it halal for Amazon to take ownership of an item until it reaches you?
yeah, or like the other way around, like the minute it leaves their shipping point, it's like not their fault.
No, they can, this is based on the agreement between buyer and seller. It's fine. If they say that, no, we take ownership until it reaches you till your doorstep, it's fine. Yeah. Or they can say that, no, we stipulate that the day it and goes into the ship, it's not our responsibility, it goes to you. That'll be in the contract, but that's, either way can work out, it's fine. Point number 3, the product or service must be clearly defined. نهى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم عن بيع الغرر وعن بيع الجهل. That the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said, or he prohibited a gharar transaction or a transaction based on ignorance. What that means is, for example, right here, do not buy the fish in the water, or this is gharar. If I tell you that I sell you one of the 50 fishes or the 50 fish in this pond, what is the problem? Which fish exactly? The product is not being defined. So we're going to talk about this, we're going to talk about more in detail in gharar. Gharar, in short, is defined as when one or more of the pillars of a trade are not clear or it's ambiguous. For example, that in a transaction, the product or service that is being provided must be defined, the price must be defined, right? The buyer or the seller must be known, and if it is a credit purchase or sale, the time frame for how long that payment or when that payment will be due must be known. If either one of these are unknown, the transaction becomes a gharar transaction, and that's not permissible.
So an option covers or helps you agreed upon value.
They have it agreed upon.
Agreed upon ambiguity. Like, what would you say about this? Like, we're going to auction, you don't know if the engine is good.
Yeah,
So it's not-
like they are selling it as is.
Exactly,
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in gharar. Look, I have that point specifically in gharar as well. Lotteries, gambling, auctions, these things. All of them we're going to talk about. But the thing is, because I need to define gharar first to actually talk about that, then I will be well understood as well. So if any one thing or one pillar, you mentioned 5 pillars, right? So if one pillar is not clear, if I say that one of us 5 people sell you a laptop or sold you a laptop, which one? Who sold it? The seller is not clear. If I say that I am selling one of you 5 guys a laptop, which guy? And it's not clear, right? If I'm telling you I'm selling you one of these 50 fish, or I'm selling you, I am selling you milk of this cow. When the cow gives milk, how much milk, and where is that milk? Is it even produced yet? When is it going to be produced? I'm not even sure yet. I'm like, I don't know. Once it's there, I'll give it to you. The product is not clear, right? What am I selling? And the price, if I tell you that I'm selling you this product and the price is unknown, right? I have sold it to you for 50 or 100. It's not clear. So this is what we call a bay' al-gharar. All right. In this, we will talk about majority of the things where we have to define if there's gharar in it or not, is like things like insurance, things like lotteries, things like gambling, those kind of things. All right, those fall here. So there must be no gharar in a specific transaction. And also, like, because the fish is in the water, will I even be able to catch the fish? I haven't caught it yet, right? So many things. There are too many undefined things there, right? Number 4, the price must be clearly defined. This is simple. The 5th one, the parties must be someone permitted to carry out a transaction. They must be mentally sound adults and not coerced. It should be by consent. So as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah An-Nisa, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu لا تأكلوا أموالكم بينكم بالباطل إلا أن تكون تجارة عن تراض بينكم تراض بينكم. That it should be, do not eat or devour each other's wealth unless it is a transaction with mutual consent. So there must be consent, all right? And so number 1, there must be consent. And second, it has to be by someone mentally sound. So if a child comes to me and says that, he says, Uncle, I'm selling you this car, our car, right? Child, 5-year-old or 6-year-old, and he tells me, just give me $50. And I give him $50, will this transaction, and his dad later comes, he's like, that's my car, right? Is that transaction valid in the court of law? It will not be valid. It will be nullified by the judge because the person selling it is too young. Or if someone comes, if a kid, and this happens a lot, what about if a kid comes to a store and says, Uncle, can you give me this chocolate and I'll pay you $5 for it, right? Whatever the price is. If this transaction valid, the kid is not the age of puberty, I would say, does not understand much. But this happens, so this is very common, right? Kids do come to the store and they want to buy food. So am I saying that this transaction is not valid? The kids can't come to the store?
I guess the duty is on the seller to sell the kid with the same price they would give an adult.
Yeah, there should be, if the transaction is not different from any other arm's length transaction, meaning there is, you will have to look at the evidences and you always, a judge, when he is judging a case, he is going to look at all of the evidences and proof there. If the transaction, like the same chocolate, it is $5 and everyone has been sold that chocolate for $5, the kid the same. And same, the kid is not buying an item which is not of his use, but it is an item that the kids buy. And the amount of money the kid has is something you can believe that their parents would have allowed the kid and say that, okay, go to the store and you can buy it. So the parent, the adults here are questionable, and it is believable that the father or mother of that child would have allowed this kid to come and make the transaction. I'm not making that transaction based on the kid. I am making that transaction with his father, actually, and the kid is the agent there. You get it? That's what's happening. But if, so that's the transaction itself, it is fine, if it makes sense. So you see, subhanAllah, so many points to think about, That's why these things get very complicated sometimes. And that's why, it is very hard. I know people jump right away and say that, is mortgage halal, or is this halal credit card, or the fundamentals are not understood properly. And so many people come to me and say that what's the difference between an Islamic mortgage and an interest-based mortgage? They're exactly the same thing. You are telling me, that person is telling me, when I know this person doesn't have any fundamental, and you can see how complicated sometimes some points become. And so that's why understanding it slowly from bottom up, then concepts become clear. And you understand how things are actually working. So the fifth one would be that it has to be by someone monthly sound. So 5 conditions. This is very important. All right. The item being sold must not be prohibited. The transaction must be by someone who has ownership of their item. The item should be defined. The price must be defined. The parties must have the ability to carry out a transaction. 5 things, 5 conditions, and 5 pillars. All right. These 5 must be there. Any transaction where these one or more of these things are not there, it becomes a nullified transaction, meaning that transaction will be cancelled. In any case, go ahead.
For the second condition, by selling does that mean the promise is what's considered, or payments? For example, if one accepts the orders, and were to promise a product but not accept payment, is that permissible?
Repeat it again. Go ahead.
If by selling in the second condition, is the promise or the payment what's being considered?
The promise or the payment?
So can you promise someone a product without having full possession?
You can promise. Because you can promise someone, because promise is not part of when you promise someone, you're not entering a transaction. So the worst that is going to happen, you will break your promise, right? And for that, if you broke a promise, you made a promise to someone that I'm going to provide this to you, but you did not. A business transaction has not been nullified here. Nothing happened to business because a business transaction was never done. As we mentioned, a business transaction, there must have been exchange of something. Nothing was exchanged at the moment yet. And number 2, if you promise someone that I'll provide this to you, you ended up not being able to, so your promise was broken. So whatever the kafara for breaking a promise is, that's what you do. So it will be different. But again, this point, we're going to talk about this in much more detail because I mentioned the Amazon point and I didn't talk more in detail about it, but there's more points there as well. So these are 5. What's the time?
7:40.
What time? You have till 8:30, right? So you guys are tired. Is it complicated? Is it too much thinking or?
No,
Yeah, but don't get tired yet because we didn't start. Yeah, no, give me out there.
I need a part 2.
Sheikh, Sheikh, don't worry about going overtime. You can go overtime.
Yeah,
Like
you
10,
go
15.
till 9.
You can go as long as you want. Yeah.
Maybe part 2.
Maybe inshallah.
In terms of something you possess, consider possessing it. If you don't have it in your you have
See, this is the point that we will come to in when we talk about it. That's the thing. Like you are very sure you're gonna have the item when it's time to buy it. You're very sure. It's not with me, but I'm very sure I'm gonna have it. So is that still the same as not possessing it? So that's the question. Okay. So we'll talk about this. The thing is that hadith are very clear on it that you don't have possession of it. There's other hadith on this. The Prophet said, do not sell food which you still have not put on your camel yet, meaning it's still not actually in your hand. But then there are other ahadith that show that even if it was based on where you feel that you definitely are going to have possession of it, it becomes permissible. So we'll talk about that as well.
Yeah. Someone in chat asked, what is the ruling on drop shipping for the ownership condition?
Drug shipping?
Drop shipping.
Drop shipping?
Yeah. The ownership condition.
The ownership condition, like how?
So Amazon basically.
Drop shipping with ownership condition, like who has the ownership?
The seller buys on Amazon from a supplier.
Yeah.
And then holds it in a warehouse, and then the seller on Amazon sells it to other buyers. That's
Yeah,
dropshipping.
that's, so he's saying, is it permissible then to sell that product? Is that what he's saying?
They're just asking about the ruling in general.
Moving and having
So
an item provided to you
Yeah.
in the warehouse, which you can sell later. Fine, like, no problem there.
If I'm
See,
not mistaken.
everything is halal. Go back to the basics. الأصل في الأشياء الإباحة حتى إذا
I thought,
جاء ما صار في
I
الإباحة.
thought dropshipping is selling something you don't own. Is that not what dropshipping is?
Because they're saying like, let's say you get an order, and then after you get the order, then you make the order to get the stuff, but you might not know if it's in stock or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine, like you still don't have ownership of it, but most likely you'll have it in possession when it's time to sell. Is that what it is? Is that what it is?
I think it's the same as Amazon. But you only make the order to bring it, like from the warehouse
Yeah.
afterwards, but you're not.
Exactly, like it's in the warehouse, right? It's in the warehouse and you can say it's assigned to you, but not given to you yet. It's gonna be provided to you,
Most likely.
right? Yeah, that's what it is. That's fine. Like just focus on these five conditions. If in any transaction you feel these five conditions are met, it's halal, right? Now, I know that a lot of questions are coming on this one that I don't possess it actually. So I guess then let's talk about it because a lot of people are asking about it. Let's go to it. I'll mention it to you. Here, this hadith. These two hadith, right? I'm jumping to it because you guys had asked a lot of questions on it. I don't want to go by it without explaining it. So we said on one side, a hadith, that the hadith the Prophet said, do not sell anything you do not possess, right? There are a lot of hadith on that, all authentic, right? Then there are these hadith as well, where the Prophet said, Man aslafa fi shay'in, fal yuslif fi wazanin ma'lum, wal kaylin ma'lum, ila ajalin ma'lum. That if any one of you is paying something in advance for something that has not been produced, or it's not available yet even, then let him at least make the measurements, weight, and payment time frame be specified. All right. And the second one here, this hadith, Abdullah ibn Abi Awfa and Abdurrahman ibn Abza, they both say that at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, caravans used to come from Sham, and we used to give them money for hinta, sha'ir, zabib, zayt. We used to pay them and tell them that next time you are coming, bring me 1,000 kg of this, bring me 1,000 kg of this, or this and that and this. And then one of the Sahabi asked, did they have it in their possession? Or did you know that they have 1,000 kg of hinta? They would say that we would not ask them about that. In other words, these guys in these two situations, the seller does not possess at the moment what is being sold. So if I'm telling someone that I need a shipment of 1,000 computers, right? I know 100% you don't have 1,000 computers right now. Or if I'm ordering from Dell, let's say Dell, and I tell Dell that our office, we need like 5,000 computers. We need them built from scratch. They haven't built it yet, right? I already am telling him that he hasn't, so it's not even produced yet. Something that is not produced cannot be possessed. But one thing is for sure, that they have the skill to produce it. I know 100% that they can produce it, right? And as long as these points are met, that I am clearly mentioning to them how much I need, how many I need, what exactly I need. So the specifications must be there. As long as it's fully specified, properly specified, the price is agreed upon today, right? And the time frame is specified as well, that when they will be provided, and I pay him, right? Or I pay them, like, or we agree on payment right now, tomorrow, or whatnot, then it is permissible. In other words, to avoid confusion, these ahadith, they are conflicting, right? But the ruling in usul al-hadith, what is it? That if you have two ahadith in Nukhbat al-Fikr, what does Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani mention? That when you have two ahadith, both authentic, or more than two authentic, then, but it seems they are conflicting, then the first step is that al-jam'u, you have to make jam' between them. You have to combine them and see how to fulfill both of these ahadith without conflicting anyone. We cannot not follow hadith, right? We cannot say I will not follow it. So either one is a nasikh, other is a mansukh, meaning one it comes later or after, but forget those details. The point here is that you can combine between them. The hadith, the ruling you can get from this, that if I know that I do not possess something, but it is very highly likely that I can fulfill this order and get possession of it, then it is permissible. It is as if you possess it. It is as if you possess it. So these things are usually, this play a big role in things like, this is something we call bay'u salam, by the way. All right. Another thing, bay'ul istisna, building and construction. So in building and construction, the house is not there. The building is not there, right? If someone tells me that I want to build a house and I need you to provide it to me or give it to me, I don't have the house, right? He pays me in advance, but he specifies the house. He gives me a map, a design. So see, all the specifications are there. Just make sure all these three things are specified right here. The product is being specified clearly. The price is being specified clearly. And the buyer or seller, of course, it is clear that who is buying and who is selling. So in a contract, as long as those three are done, right? And I know that this person can give it to me, or this person has the ability to provide it to me, then even if I don't have possession of that item I am selling, I can give it. Because it is of high probability that I will provide it. So see here, even in this transaction, there is a level of gharar, a level of uncertainty. But see, this is something we say, al-gharar, al-khafi, wal-jali, or mu'athira, ghayr mu'athira, material or immaterial. All right, if it's so less, the level of gharar is so less, the ambiguity is so less, that then it's meaningless. It will not affect the transaction. Just like, for example, even in a transaction where, for example, just like if you're fasting, right? If you're fasting, anything that goes through your mouth into your stomach, it breaks the fast, right? But there are a lot of microbes or germs that is always going through your throat into your stomach. Is it breaking the fast? No, it's ghayr mu'athira, it's immaterial. These will not define anything. So if something is immaterial, and how will I define, how will I know it's immaterial? If there's evidence from the Quran and Sunnah clearly saying that it is immaterial, then it is immaterial. Or by using qiyas, sometimes some other similar situations where I can see that, yeah, or sometimes even from knowing your daily routine, like yeah, so in daily routine as well, if you see any transaction in which normally it takes place that way, and there's a little minor gharar in it, or minor ambiguity in the price or the product, it's fine. So for Amazon, that is the same thing. For Amazon, I would say that if I am a computer seller on Amazon or a laptop seller on Amazon, as long as I know that I can provide those orders on time, even if I don't possess them, it should be fine. Go ahead.
Sorry, we could put the questions just for later, just so we're on time. Inshallah, if that's okay.
Sure.
It's okay. Jazakallah khair.
Let's go back. I guess we did all of this. So I'll just, the importance of the conditions and pillars, why are they important? Because now I know when would a transaction be nullified, which I say batil, or it will be fasid. Batil means basically that if any one of the pillar is absent or any one condition is absent, the transaction is nullified itself. Like the transaction is no good. Everything will be returned. It's canceled, right? So that's what we mean by batil. Fasid means that the transaction is fine, but if there's any prohibited conditions in it, those will be nullified, those conditions. The rest will stay intact. So for example, if someone tells me, those conditions can either be one of two. Either that condition they're making is a condition that goes against the whole point of a business transaction. For example, if someone tells me that I'm selling this to you with the condition that you will not sell it to Ali, right? Or I'm selling this to you with the condition that you must lend this, or you must, let me fine, forget that. You must not sell it to Ali or something like that. We can say it like that, or I'm selling this to you with the condition that you will own, you will not own it completely. So conditions like that are not valid. Like if someone tells me, because the whole point of a sale is that I own the item I'm buying. As we said, right, in a business transaction is where two items of value are being traded with the intent of ownership. If someone is telling me that I'm giving this to you or I'm selling this to you with the condition you will not sell it to Ali, why? If I own it, I can sell it to whoever I want, right? So that kind of conditions, those are removed. Those you don't even have to act upon, right? But the rest of the transaction will remain. Whatever he sold to me, I'll keep it, but I'm not going to act on his condition. Unless you want to make a promise with someone that you tell them that if you sell this to me, I promise to do this or do that. A promise is something different. But if someone is putting this in a contract, in a legal contract or a written contract, that this thing is being sold to you with this condition, and those conditions go against the whole ownership of an item, those conditions will not be valid. Or something, a condition which is prohibited to begin with. A condition like a prohibited condition, for example, this comes up a lot. For example, I'll give you the example, but I'll not answer it. A lot of people put this condition that in marriage contract, that the husband will not marry again, or will not take a second wife, or the talaq will be in the hand of the wife, things like this. Conditions. Are these valid? What do you think? Sorry? Are they passive? Are they not? Are they valid?
Conditions are not enforceable.
Yeah. So there are different answers. But anyway, but my point is just to give you an idea of what like some common conditions that usually you will come across. Like when you were getting married, you will definitely come about these conditions or these points that are being made. But my point is that in a contract, points like this do come. Now, whether they are valid or not, whether they're against the Quran or Sunnah, that is left for the Imam to define. He defines it and he will say that if it is allowed or not. But whatever, it does not mean that the nikah will not be valid anymore. It doesn't break the nikah, but that condition based on whatever the Imam rules or the judge rules that this shart or this condition is not valid, the nikah remains intact, they are married, but just that condition will be removed. Right? So that's what we mean by fasid or batil. Batil is literally the whole transaction or the whole contract is cancelled. Selling a haram product. Now this comes to one of the brothers asked a question about. Now what if I'm selling something which is halal, but I know I'm selling it to someone who I'm sure he's going to use it for something haram. So that is one condition. Like for example, I have a business where I'm selling whatever. Yeah, let's take that one. Grapes. So I'm selling grapes. Grapes is halal, no problem with fruits. But there's a wine factory, and they're telling me that we want this much grapes in bulk for our factory. I know 100% he's using it for wine, right? Making wine. So selling that to that person, is it permissible? It's impermissible, not allowed. Because it will be as if I'm selling something haram now. Or I'm selling something halal for a haram purpose. So you are actually participating in something that is prohibited, right? So the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, حبس العنب أيام القطاف حتى يبيعه للنصراني أو يهودي. You can see the whole hadith. Whoever holds grapes during the harvest season so that he can sell them to Jews or Christians, or to someone who will make wine from it, he has indeed thrown himself in the fire of hell knowingly, right? So if I know someone's going to misuse something, I'm not allowed to sell it to them. And similarly, like in the US, for example, if someone is selling weapons, right? Weapon stores, You know this guy is gonna misuse this weapon, or he's buying something for the wrong purpose. It's not permissible to sell to that person. And anything like this. So if you are sure that something is going to be misused, selling your item or product to that person will not be permissible. But now the question is, what if I'm not sure? I'm not 100% sure, I don't know. It can be used for good, like someone from the wine factory comes and he's buying grapes, right? It's not necessary he's gonna use it in the wine factory, he's just buying grapes. But there might be a chance that he uses it. What do you think? Can I still sell to him or not? Reason, give me a evidence for it or something. Logic to it. Go ahead.
How can you, how can you be sure that this person, how can you ever be sure that this person's not going to use your product or something haram?
Yeah, you can never, sometimes you can be sure when it's, see, you are never sure about anything 100%, only Allah is sure about something 100%. Even a judge, when he's looking at the whole case, 98, 99 substantial evidence, we say there's substantial evidence to believe that this guy is gonna misuse it. But sometimes it's not so substantial, like I'm just not sure. I don't 100% know. I have my doubts, but not sure. Then
It's like a taxi driver who's driving people hundreds of places.
exactly, yeah.
You don't know if he's gonna do.
Where he's going, yeah. You don't know where he's going and what he's going for. But if he's actually telling you that this is what I'm going for and this is where I want to go, now you know 100% what he's going for. So now if you're participating in this, then you definitely are participating in that prohibition, right? Because in Islam, it's not about just not committing the prohibited action, but it is also, what's the point then? If it's also to discourage it or to stop it, right? To put control on it. So if you are not doing your job, then you are participating. But my doubts, that's the question. So if it's Friday night and I'm a taxi driver and someone wants to go somewhere which is close to the bars or the clubs, now what? I don't know if where he or she is going. Go back to the default ruling and business itself. What is it? Everything is halal unless proven haram. You have to give me substantial evidence for me to believe that this thing is haram. Right? If someone is not able to give me substantial evidence for something that is haram, then it is halal by default, right? But if you have, and again, this goes to subjectivity as well. Like you are, at that, we cannot define right now any taxi driver, what he is doing or how he would know his job better, he would have more knowledge than me about it. Similarly, someone running a grocery store, at that moment, they will use their subjective decision. They would see that, yes, is there substantial evidence? Maybe he does see it, maybe he does not. But if you are in doubt, you're not 100% sure, you should go by the default thing that you are a seller, you are selling things, you sell to everyone. Unless you have good evidence to prove that this person is going to misuse it. Go ahead.
It also applies to somebody who might not know what they're doing is haram, but even though it is haram.
Yeah, but if he tells you it, right? Like, do you know he's using it for something haram?
No, like for example, if I'm in a place where I'm actually doing a job and I don't know that it's haram, and then later I find out that it is haram, then after they tell me that knowledge, then it becomes haram. But
Of course, if you're continuing in it, then of course, like if you're whatever it is, if you are producing drugs like cocaine and stuff like that, you're producing drugs, but you are actually part of the chain, you don't know what your services are, and you figure out that actually what they're doing is, I'm making this item for them and they're using it for drugs. Then if you're continuing there, then you can't say that I'm not involved, right? You are involved. So that's basically what it is. But anyways, that's the idea. Al-aslu fil ashyai al-ibaha hatta yati'a masalih al-ibaha. Allah yusuf al-ibaha. That everything in Islam or in actions are permissible until and unless there is substantial evidence to prove that it is haram. Now the second one, and I think this would be quite relevant, copyrights, academic knowledge or whatnot, using those. For example, now the opposite side. So this is like when I'm selling something to someone who I know is going to misuse it. This one point. If I'm buying something which I know 100% that this thing is either stolen or this thing is Yeah, stolen, whatever, stolen. But you know the item you are buying or the service you're getting is a haram item or a haram service. The opposite, exactly the same. What works for that works for this. Go ahead, go ahead.
If you were to consider healthcare as a service, there'd be a situation where you have to use care.
Use care. That's a very hard, that's a very hard question. First of all, by default, as I said, you should be providing care to everybody until and unless there's evidence to prove or whatever. But if someone is dying, let's say he was a killer or something, why should I not help him? If he was a murderer, let's say.
Would it be simple to know that like he would use his health to do that thing?
That's only Allah knows that. How can I know that? Maybe he repents after he becomes better. Like, that's something I can't say.
So as a healthcare provider, there's no situation where you can.
I can't think of any. No, you shouldn't. See, of course, a doctor who is in practice, they would know much more than me, of course. I don't know now what kind of situation comes. But of course, as
Everyone.
I will only speak by the default. The default is there's no reason anyone should ever be refusing healthcare, even to a criminal, because the criminal is dying right now. If he is dying, why will I not help him? Like helping human beings, first of all, the default rule in Islam is that everyone should be helping everyone. The Prophet ﷺ helped even women who are not good women, or the Prophet ﷺ helped the thieves. Sahabas helped thieves as well. Things like that. In fact, I should be helping everyone. There's no reason I shouldn't be helping. They can repent from it. Their sin is on them. I'm not helping them in any sin. I didn't help them to kill someone, or I'm not helping them to kill someone. And there's no evidence that if I save him, he will go and kill somebody else right after this, or there's no way I can connect these two things. So there shouldn't be a reason why.
Can you take something as a gift from someone, like, you know, who takes riba or something?
Give some from someone who you know he takes riba.
Yes.
Yes, no problem. There is no reason why you shouldn't. If he takes riba, see, he doesn't only take riba, right? Or is his only source of income in riba?
No.
Yeah, so see, it's unknown. See, if I go into technicalities, I'll say that how sure are you that this gift, he got this exactly with the money of riba? You're not sure. Maybe he got this with his money of his job. But now you would say that, but how do I know the money is mixed in the account? Exactly. How do you know? You don't know. So again, whenever you come to a confusing situation where there's no way you can verify this, there's no way you can verify which money was riba, which is and riba, usually if there is riba, it's always the minor portion. Usually a person is working and he's earning his salary is $5,000 a month. Riba, he maybe gets from his savings account $5 a month. There's a big difference. So you can't say that I'm not going to accept this unless his whole job is that his only source of income is that he lends money to people and he's just taking interest. Then I know 100% his income is riba, or the most of it is riba. Then this I shouldn't take. This I shouldn't take. But even that's questionable sometimes. But yeah, then you shouldn't take. Go ahead, sister.
So my mom sometimes at work.
Even to the question. I don't think people will understand.
Should that be grown?
The gelatin.
Yeah, the gelatin.
Yes. It should not be used. It should not be given to anyone. It's just exactly like the Prophet, like the hadith, where the Prophet said that don't even sell. Like, I guess this hadith, look at this even. That even someone who keeps grapes to make alcohol from it because he wants to sell the alcohol to Jews and Christians. Right? Now Jews and Christians can drink it, or anyone else, any other religion, they can probably drink alcohol, but I'm not even allowed to sell it because you're see, it goes back to the same thing that I'm selling something haram. Even if I'm selling it to someone who they can use it, but I'm promoting it. I'm spreading it, I am I'm just making more use of it. So these things should be discouraged or reduced. So that would be it shouldn't just be, we shouldn't be following Islam just by word, it should be by spirit. So sometimes you can understand what the whole point of the Prophet ﷺ was behind this hadith. What is the spirit of the hadith? Why is he saying this? It is to discourage that item or those things. And so let's continue.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell everyone, inshallah, if you guys could keep your questions to the end, just so we are able to finish the content. You guys can ask the questions, inshallah, afterwards. But yeah, just please keep the questions for after so we can finish the content. Jazakumullah khairan.
Okay, so this hadith, whoever purchases stolen property while knowing it is stolen, then he has participated in its evil and sin. So this is, for example, like pirated products. A lot of people talk about this. They through torrent, they download stuff or buy stuff. Not even buy torrent. No one's buying anything from torrent. But you are getting free products, which you know that this definitely is stolen, right? If you are sure something is stolen, or it is not the property owned by this person, he took it by ghasb, meaning sariqa, he stole it, or he took it by force from someone, or by, whatever. You can't buy that item, okay? So like if someone is giving you whatever it is, games, downloading games for free, I know it's common, bro, like don't tell me, but I know it's common. But buying games for free, like if you're getting like games, whatever, PS5 games or anything, and you know that this is stolen product, or you're buying a book from someone who stole it. Again, it's copyright, the author wrote that book, and someone just took it, whatever, and he's selling it for a lower price. Again, I know it's hard, but these shouldn't be bought or shouldn't be taken. Especially as students, I won't lie that we wouldn't have much money, so we would always be doing that. But of course, after you learn and you study, see, the temptation is always there. That's the problem. It's easy to say, but it's very hard to practice. But that's the whole thing about Islam, right? There should be, to some extent, we have to forego the thought of always making an economic benefit. That's the problem, that every time if you're thinking about this, I'm losing money here, then this is the problem. Like if you are not ready to lose $50, then how are you obeying Allah? Like which part of it is obeying Allah? Which part of our life is actually, I am sacrificing something to obey Allah and His Prophet? Like which part in my dealings am I doing that? So sometimes the economic benefit, and you have to give priority. Sometimes there's economic benefit for something, and there is obedience to Allah and His pleasure. If you can't afford it, wait a little bit, take a loan from someone, but do it properly, so that, subhanAllah, that in the end your dealings or everything is done properly. And inshallah, it's not too hard. Once I knew that pirating stuff was haram, I stopped it. I stopped doing things like that. I've stopped buying games like that. Nothing happened. My life never changed. Nothing changed. We were still playing the same games. We were still getting our books. Like it was just a decision to make. That's it. Literally, it's not much. But keep in mind, these things are important, right? Especially like in university times. Yeah. So I guess that would be selling haram products. By the way, why am I going through these things? I want you to connect the PowerPoints, right? So that you understand what the sequence and logic we're going with. We talked about the pillars of a business. We talked about what is a business transaction. We talked about the pillars. We talked about the conditions. The pillars and conditions, why are they important? Because we said if any one of them is missing, the business transaction is canceled. And we said that if all of these pillars and conditions are present in a business transaction, it is definitely halal then, right? Nothing is haram in that. So knowing what the conditions are, every time you are making a business transaction, a big one, small one, think about these 5 conditions. Think about whether they're all clear. If they are, then sign the contract. You're fine. All right. And then the reason now I'm going through three things, like selling a haram product. In these conditions, 3 things we mentioned: selling a haram product, a bay' al-gharar, and we mentioned riba. Right? These 3 things. The reason I'm going through these is because remember in the beginning I mentioned that a business transaction, it becomes haram for one of these 3 reasons. If these 3 things are not there, it's halal. If the conditions are met and these 3 things are not there, the business transaction is fine. But again, if the conditions are met, these 3 things are already, you know that they're not there. Okay? This is an interesting one, and this is the little confusing one. Actually, riba is more confusing than this, but this would be, I would say, a little bit. What is bay' al-gharar? Bay' al-gharar is when there's ambiguity in one of 3 things. Either the product is not clear, as I mentioned, or the price has not been properly defined, or the time frame for the transaction is not properly defined. In other words, that in any transaction, I must be clear and I should know that what is exactly the product I am buying, what is the price being paid for it, and the buyer and seller, usually those are known, so I'm not gonna mention them, but knowing who the buyer or the seller is, usually that's not a common problem. Usually there is the buyer and the seller are very clear in a business transaction. We already talked about this, but let's go to this one. Lottery tickets, gambling, right? I don't even remember what I wrote here. Okay. Oh, okay, perfect. All right, let's go to lottery tickets. I think I'm gonna have to write this. So, in a lottery ticket, is it halal or haram? Why though?
Gambling is not.
Because you're putting in money and you have a chance not to get it back.
You're putting in money and you have a chance that you will not get it back. So, which part is not clear though? Is the product not clear? Is the price of it not clear? The lottery ticket is for $20. The price is clear.
The product is not.
What you're getting back for that.
The product you're getting back for it. What am I getting back for a lottery ticket?
The chance of winning something.
Depends on what?
Zero or minimum.
Perfect. That's what we would say, right? So we are saying the product, the price. These are the two main things. We need these to be clear. Usually if these are clear, then the product is fine. So a lottery ticket, let's say this ticket is $20, right? $20. This is the price. So I got this clear. But now the lottery ticket, what is the value of this lottery ticket? What is the value of this? Like we said, we have to trade two items to make a business transaction, two items of value, right? So the price has been traded, the price, I got a price for it, and I got a lottery ticket. The lottery ticket itself is not the product, right? The lottery ticket is something to get a product. So the value of the lottery ticket will depend on what I get in the end of the day. So if it's a lottery ticket that can win me, if they say that depending on whatever number you get, you can win $1 million, or $100, or I can win $1,000, or I can win a car, let's say, or I can win a bicycle, let's say, or most of the time it's going to be $0. Okay, you guys can see here. So the price is clear, but what is the product? It's either $1 million, or it's either 100, or it's either 1,000, or it's a car, or it's a bicycle, or it's zero. I don't even know the product. It's not clear. It's not defined. So it's ambiguous. This is bay' al-gharar. So I have just got into a bay' al-gharar. This is not allowed. But let me make it a situation. What if someone gifts me a lottery ticket? I didn't pay for it. He says, hey, here you go, just take it. And then I win it. Like I win $1 million. Halal?
No.
Why? Why?
Because the entire transaction is haram, as in the lottery ticket in its essence is haram.
Lottery ticket in its essence is
Haram. So any value you get back from it is haram.
but there is no business transaction here though. Someone gifted it to me. But
The product is still unclear though. That doesn't change.
the product is unclear. So let's put it this way. What if I say that I tell my kid that if you get good marks on the exam, I'll either, depending on your marks, if you get 70% or 80 or 90, I'll either buy you a car, or I'll buy you a bicycle, or I'll buy you, I'll give you $100.
That's not entirely random though,
It is though.
but it's not.
Fine, let's say, fine, let's make it this way. I got 3 options to my kid. Let's put 3 options here though. Fine. Car, bicycle, zero. Now I'm giving a gift to my kid, depending on his marks, and I'm giving a lottery ticket to someone depending. and the kid is not paying anything. So it's free, it's a gift. And here, this is gifted to me. I didn't pay anything either. So now,
Not an action is the gift for.
yes, perfect. There's nothing haram in this. If someone's telling me that, here, take a lottery ticket. I never bought it. I'm not interested in it. I'm not gambling. Someone gave it to me. What happened here is that I didn't pay anything. So there is no transaction. مبادلة مال بمال تمليكا وتملكا. I did not trade anything for anything. So if I get the lottery ticket is equal to 0, very good, no problem. I didn't pay for it. And if I get more than that, perfect, it's a gift, so it's no problem.
So it's like a free raffle.
Free raffle, yeah, same thing. Like if someone says buy an iPhone and put your name in the raffle, you can get something.
I think something relevant to everyone is like roll up the rim.
Ours is like the Tim Hortons one?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Tim Hortons cup as well. Yeah, so lottery ticket, Tim Hortons cup, same thing. But what if, let's make it, what if I'm buying that Tim Hortons cup specifically to roll up the rim?
Oh,
Then
that's.
it's like I'm buying a lottery ticket then. It's like I'm buying a lottery ticket and the chai is coming with it. Right? Or the coffee is coming with it. So if subhanAllah, sometimes the intent matters a lot. So it's like, is it me buying the coffee and the lottery ticket coming with it? Or the raffle coming with it? Or am I actually buying the raffle and the coffee coming with it? Yeah. Go ahead.
Suppose someone wins the lottery and then they want to give you a percentage of it. You know they got this money through a haram, but they've given you it as a gift.
See, it's the same thing as the brother asked, that if someone's earning is riba and they're giving you a gift. So of course, you shouldn't be taking that. If someone got it like you haram, and like clearly that you got this haram through a haram means, then if someone won a lottery as well, and they have a lot of earnings as well, and you don't know if he's giving you a gift from that lottery money or his earnings, that's fine. Like a lot of people, subhanAllah, keep in mind that if you're practically, a lot of our wealth is a mixture of haram and halal. There can be a money in my account, which maybe some of it is haram as well, which may have come through a haram dealing or some, but majority is halal. So this mixture practically is everywhere. 99% people's wealth are a mixture. We cannot deny dealing with someone or taking gifts from people just because of I have a doubt or something, unless it's very clear. Just like go back to the hadith, the Prophet says that if you are very clear that this person stole something and is selling it to you, then yeah, that's like a haram thing. Go ahead.
So in the example for the gift lottery ticket, because you know that the transaction of the person that's giving you the gift, if he bought the lottery ticket, that's a haram transaction. Are you still allowed to take that? Because you're basically taking something that's from a haram transaction.
That's fine. Like if someone buys something through a haram transaction, does that affect my transaction? No, because a transaction is, first of all, I don't know if he bought it, right? Let's say he found it somewhere. Let's say
No,
he
but
found
if
it.
you know that he bought it.
If I know he bought it even, and he's then giving it to me, it's fine, because see, a transaction, they have to be seen case to case or separately. They cannot be mixed up. So if, for example, someone bought something haram, and he's like, let's say he's repented from it. He's like, I don't want this, right? Give it to someone else, or give it to a poor person, or something like this. It's fine, they can have that change of heart. It doesn't affect you or anyway, because you have to look at this, that did you get it from him through a haram means? Right? So that's a separate business transaction. He made a haram business transaction. Did I make a haram business transaction with him? No. My transaction is
I
fine.
asked then why pirating is haram, because you could look at it as someone stealing, and he's giving you the gift of whatever the pirated software is.
If someone is pirating,
If I steal a watch and then I gift it to you.
Yeah.
The stealing is what is its own sin. but
Yeah,
The gift
so-
is separate.
no, you're right. But see, the hadith is very clear on it. Like there's a clear hadith where the Prophet says that if you know someone stole something and is giving, so the hadith is very clear on it. Second, that this person is selling you something he does not own. This is not his ownership. A thief, is he an owner of that product? He's not an owner of the thing he stole.
We can gift it.
Yeah, so he's not in any position to be gifting it to you. He is it's like I stole someone's money and I'm gifting it to you. It's not my money to give away. So that's the thing, right? You're not dealing with the right person. You should be dealing with the owner of that product. If he gifted it to you, good.
One of the most common examples of this is anyone who rents a home, you don't know if the owner of the house got it under mortgage or owns it.
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing as well. And yeah, like subhanAllah, there can be so many hypothetical situations, but like this topic can go on. A lot of things. Here, let's also look at the gambling. By the way, gambling, what's the time now? Okay. We haven't even entered riba yet. So, but if you guys are tired, then no problem. We can do riba next time. But I mean, like, it's fine. Gambling, okay, just very quickly, gambling, the idea is just the same as a lottery ticket, all right? In a gamble, you can assume that there's a ticket being bought in the middle, all right? Let's call it a gamble, all right? Let's say it's a ticket too. The name of the ticket is a gamble. I am putting 10,000, 10K, or 10,000, yeah. I bought this ticket for 10,000. I'm not actually buying a ticket, but just so that you can connect the two things. They're the same because they're the same thing. In a gamble, I'm buying a gamble ticket for $10,000, and I can either win, and let's say the other party is putting another 10,000. So we bet on something, right? We bet on something. We're saying that if this guy or this team wins, right, you take my 10,000. If the other team wins, you pay me 10,000. So either I'm getting 20,000 back or zero back, right? I'm getting either 20,000 back or zero back, right? Same thing. The product here is not defined. So I don't know what am I going to get back. So that's a gamble. So both parties are putting money in it. But now again, here there's the question. What if one party says that if your team wins, I'll give you $10,000. And if my team wins, you don't have to pay me anything. Gamble? Why not? The one-sided. So
There's no price.
no price. It's not a transaction. It goes back to the same thing. It's a hiba. It's gift. Just like when someone gave me a lottery ticket, he's giving me a gamble ticket. All right. I'm just saying a gamble ticket doesn't sound right. But I mean, like he's just telling me that he'll pay me money if someone wins. No problem. It can be one-sided. This Abu Bakr also, he did this. Alif Lam Mim Ghulibat ar-Rum fi adna al-ardi wa hum min ba'di ghalabihim sayaghlibun. When these ayats were revealed in Surah Ar-Rum, that where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that Rum or the Romans have been defeated, but after these many years they will win again. Abu Bakr went and he made a bet with the Quraysh, and this is authentically reported. He made a bet with them that in 7 to 9 years, if the Romans will win again. So the Quraysh said that if they win again, we will give you these many camels, right? And there was no, Abu Bakr did not have any, he did not put anything in. So he said, fine. So then the Romans won, and the Quraysh gave him 100 camels. I don't remember exactly how much it is, but it is authentically reported. So this shows that one-sided, it's a gift, hiba. And secondly, also this, a third party putting in money. Saying, for example, let's say government is running or someone, the company is running a game and says that whoever wins, or it's a bet, sorry, not a bet, same thing, if your team wins, a third party who is not part of this transaction, he says, I will pay you this much money, and if your team wins, I'll pay you this much money. What about this one? No. Yes, this is also halal, because this is not a gamble. There is no, the transaction is not taking place with each other. This is a third party. He is saying that I will gift either one of you this much amount. So you're not paying anything there. Insurance. Insurance, this is important. I guess let's just go through this first. So we have mandatory insurance like auto insurance. First of all, insurance itself, if
to confirm.
yeah, insurance. Whatever it's insurance. Insurance basically means that I am buying protection for risk for an unknown risk, right? Something may happen, and if something happens, if this something happens, then I will protect you, right? That the seller of this product is telling you, that I will protect you till $1 million or whatever, just like auto insurance. So I'm paying for this insurance annually or monthly. Let's take auto insurance. You guys probably pay auto insurance. Let's say I pay it annually, right? Just to make things easy. I'm paying $1,000 annually for my auto insurance. All right. And now this auto insurance, same thing, same concept. It can, if my car, if I crash, or the car is busted, whatever happens, either he's gonna cover for me the whole car. So that's, my car's worth 50,000. Not really, I don't know that on the car. But anyway, he's gonna pay me 50,000, or depending on whatever the damage is, he's gonna pay me 10,000, or he's gonna pay me nothing for the whole year. Like majority of the cases, it's usually this. You pay insurance, car insurance, $1,000 every year. Usually you don't get into a car accident. It's not very probable. So you usually get zero return. So no product in return. So just like a lottery ticket, this is insurance. Insurance as a product, this is not permissible. Because again, the product is not clear. And same thing, this will be the full clear picture for all insurance. All insurance, anything which tells you that you will protect your risk, it's prohibited by principle. But now we come to auto insurance. I have auto insurance. You have it. Everyone has it. Then what should we do? Go ahead. Okay. So there's a necessity. Two things. We say there's two things or three things. We say there's tahsinat, hajat, and daruriyat. When I say necessity, we mean it's something daruri. Necessity means that if I don't take it or don't have it, I'll either die or suffer a very severe loss of limb or physical loss or very severe financial loss. Now, tell me, is insurance a necessity? No. Then?
Isn't it illegal to drive without insurance?
Of course it is.
Yeah, you're gonna go to jail, so I think that's.
Good, yeah, that's one point. You are getting to my point. So you gave me an example of what my point would be. But let's get to a principle or rule on this. Go ahead. Health insurance in Canada is not haram. I'm not paying for health insurance. Okay, it's back to that same thing, lottery thing, where we are not paying for the health insurance. It's a hiba, it's a gift from the government as a public property. Right? So it's just like parks, they are public property. Similarly in Canada, it is a public property. So that health insurance in the US, that comes, but again, comes to the same topic that I'm starting. So in insurance, the thing would be that, as the brother said, if I don't take the insurance, first of all, it's not classified as a necessity or a darura, it is classified as a haja. Haja is what we say, a need. Translation, I'm just saying need, just to differentiate. What we mean by need is it's of a lower category, meaning without it, life will still be possible. I can still live, but it will cause difficulty. It will cause difficulty. All right. As you said, I can go to jail, or anything else. If I get into a car crash, it'll cost me a lot of money, cost me a lot of money. All that, so it becomes a need. And when something, this is an Islamic principle, that when something, even if it is haram, but it is not the haram of the highest category. Even in haram, there are categories, like riba is the highest category, zina, highest category, things like that. It depends, again, these things you have to study in more detail, but when something is prohibited, and it is not the highest level of prohibition, however, it is such a need in the society that without it, it will cause a lot of people, a lot of inconvenience, then it becomes halal. Al-hajatul amma tanzilu manzilat al-darura. That a common need, which is now not just regarding one individual, it has become a widespread need in the society itself. Everyone needs it, right? So it is a haja amma. So it is a need for everyone, right? it will come under the ruling of a darura as a necessity. Okay, just like it will be ruled as if it is a necessity, it is a darura. You get the idea? This is a principle. This is a qaida fiqhiyya. We say that, and why do we say this? Because in Islam, the general rule is that al-mashaqqatu tajlibu at-taysir. That whenever there is such a hardship where it becomes very hard to follow a particular rule. But again, one should not be dishonest in this. One should be honest and sincere, and one should know his and her commitment or Islamic commitment or obedience. That we must try our best, and we should not say that, oh, okay, this fine, everything that is haram in the West, it can be halal because of need and stuff. Like this shows that a person is insincere. He is not even trying. He is not even trying to do the right thing, right? So even though we say it is al-hajatul amma, we need to have it, but we must still try our best to find a substitute to it as Muslims, as a community, right? So just being satisfied with it is wrong. But for the current time, to live your life without any difficulty, it becomes halal for that. But a substitute is very important, like Islamic insurance. There are options, like things like that. Sorry, someone had a question.
We're just wondering, like, is that halal for us?
Yes, of course, takaful is halal, and it is a replacement for insurance, Islamic insurance, things like that. I think there is one. There is Manzil. They did say they announced that they are issuing takafuls. There is Al Ansar. They did say that they give takafuls as well. There is one other company, Aya Financial, which is also in GTA. They say they give takafuls as well, but I haven't confirmed with them if they have any takaful or not. But whether they give takaful in auto insurance, Allah, I did, because a lot of them are my friends as well. If it was available, they would have told me. But I doubt that anyone here has any auto insurance. But subhanAllah, see all these things, one should always try. If you think you can do it and you can make a product like this for everyone, you will make lives for all Muslims better. Because the objective of life must always be that we must try our best to obey Allah as much as possible. And because we should not let that motivation die. Like it should always be there. Like now, subhanAllah, with Aya Financial, we design Islamic mortgages and Islamic stocks and Islamic savings account. Why are we doing it? Like why are we doing it? Just because we feel that we need, if we're not going to do it, who's going to do it? To give more options to the Muslims. Because a lot of Muslims are taking haram mortgages and stuff like that. So the more options you give them, the more it will, inshallah, slowly get better. Go ahead. Yes, the best one would be, I would say, is which we even would refer to in our masters, was the one by, it's a Pakistani scholar, but he is one of the best in Islamic finance. It is an introduction to Islamic finance by Mufti Taqi Usmani. And that's that's available. You can even download it in PDF. It's not haram. He has actually provided it to for public use. And there's another one as well, but that's a little bit difficult. But this one, like this is very good. Last, U.S. Medical insurance. Medical insurance in the U.S., even though it's not legally required, but again, we would say this is also halal in the U.S. Because medical insurance, medical expenses will be very, very difficult for anyone without a medical insurance in the U.S. So this would fall in the same category. Go ahead.
Like, for example, if you have like parents and they're like actually like in like health need, like for example, like dental need and stuff, and you know that they're in dental need, then would it then be a necessity? Like it would be a necessity, and then it's like, well, take like dental insurance more.
It's very hard to give like a blanket ruling on all of them. See, every person has to judge their own situation by themselves. And as I said, see, in Islam, this is very important that human being must be sincere. Be honest with yourself and see that is this something, definitely something that we need to get, or this is going to cause us a lot of problem. For example, like some people, like if they have like a severe dental issues, some people have severe dental issues, the costs for their dental care is very high than what the normal should be in a year or something, and they know they cannot afford it. Yes, I can't say that it's halal for that person, but only for that person I would say it's halal. I wouldn't say that it's halal for everybody. So you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's very hard to give a blanket ruling on all of these for everybody. Everyone has to judge their own situation. But the important thing is understand the fundamentals and try to follow them as much as you can. Riba, now this is a very, this is very difficult as well. So I don't know if I should go through it or not.
Part two compared.
Okay, Sheikh, I mean, we could do a part two, inshallah. So for now, maybe you could take questions for 10 minutes and then we could maybe end it there, inshallah.
Yeah, let me just see if there's anything there short I can just discuss.
Okay. Yeah, so sorry for telling you your question.
It's okay, and I have the chance to write them down.
Alhamdulillah, Barakallah feek. No, yeah. So this one sends it to your notes, right? Your online account, right?
I don't
Yeah,
think we
yeah.
can. It's very hard.
Remark.
You have to be fresh mentally to be able to understand. But I'll just take like just a few points, maybe. Just a few points. Riba, just to understand the basic riba. There are 3 types of riba, but I'm not going to talk about all the other 2 types. Just one type of riba, which is the one you all probably already know. It's as and the most basic definition, and it is the most wholesome definition as well, is الزيادة على الدين. كل قرض جر نفعا فهو ربا. As Ali radiallahu anhu defined it, and it's authentically reported that الزيادة على الدين, any increase on a loan you gave somebody, right? Whether he gives it back to you in cash or in kind, is considered riba. So if I put a condition that you have to return to me $10 later with a cup of coffee, that cup of coffee is riba, right? So it can be in cash or in kind. If I say $10, you return to me $15, that's riba. You understand that? And anything in kind as well. Now this I've summarized a lot. There's so many points about riba and that it's very difficult to talk about all of it. But I guess I just repeated to you just a point which you probably already knew. We'll just talk about some of the common financial contracts. I'm not going to discuss all of them. Again, home mortgage, this deals with riba. Now, if we discuss riba, and the thing is, I don't like discussing a topic without telling you all the base to it, right? It just throws me off my whole thing. I like to explain the reason why something is haram, and then I mention to you examples of it, like home mortgage and stuff. So home mortgage, it's based on riba, so I'm not going to discuss it right now, but inshallah next time. And how we can produce an Islamic substitute for it. An Islamic substitute, diminishing musharaka. Car financing, car financing. This is a big one. So leasing a car or buying a car on zero financing, or buying a car with what? Yeah, zero financing or financing. Car financing, again, it's if there is any increase on the loan you are getting, it will be riba. So if it is whether a car or a house or anything else. But there are halal ways of financing a car, even in Canada. You can do that. There are ways to it. If you get a zero-rated finance, that will be halal. Because what they do is they just calculate for you what they want to charge you as interest, right? They will calculate that if you're buying the car for 5 years, right? They will see that how much interest they will get at 5% in the end of the term, right? So if it's like 10,000, the car is worth 50,000, and they feel that in 5 years the interest is going to be 10,000. They will just take that amount and they will put it in the price of the car, right? So they put it in the price of the car. Is this different? Yes, this is different. This is not the same as interest. It's different. So what they will do, they will just tell you, all right, we'll sell you the car for 60,000. All right, we're selling it to you for 60,000, but you can pay it to us in installments. They will take 60,000 and divide by 72 months, I believe, in 5 years.
60.
How many?
60.
Yeah, just 5 multiplied by 12. 65. Yeah. So and they will divide it over that. How is this different? There is a difference in it. There's a major difference in it. When they put the value in the price, what happens here is that price becomes defined in such a way that if you give the car back before 5 years, the part that was increased in the price So the difference would be this is just one difference I'm giving you. So if there was if they were charging you interest, if you return the car back in 3 years rather than 5, the interest of the last 2 years will not be charged. If it was an interest-based financing. If it is zero-rated financing, you have already been charged for all the 5 years already, even if you return the car within 3 years. So the contract has changed. So there is a change in the contract. How are both of these different, and how does it affect things? I guess that we have to discuss later when we actually understand properly what riba is. But keep in mind that, see, if I just simply telling you that if I own something, right? If I own something, it's my product. If I have a car and I have the choice of selling it to you for 50,000 or 60,000. It depends if you agree to it, right? Because I'm giving you a product, you're paying me the price for it, right? And products are exchanging hands. That's fine. So if you want to pay me 60,000 for something, there's nothing haram happening. It's my product, I'm selling it to you, and you agree to the price. And if I say, for example, that if you want to buy it, I'll give it to you. If you pay me right now, I'll give you 50,000. I'll give it to you for 50,000. But if you want to pay it to me in installments in 12 months, then you have to pay me 60,000. What about this? Why?
They're two separate contracts.
But I haven't executed the contract yet. I'm giving you the options of what 2 contracts you can take.
Yeah, exactly. So as long as you choose one and the principles of that one is you're stuck to, then it's fine. Because they're separate things. You can only choose one of them.
What do you?
But then isn't the difference in value just the time value of money? Then isn't that and the only difference in between the two values, between the buying it now and later, is the time value of money.
It is the time value of money.
So the buyer is giving me a higher price because of the time difference.
Probably.
So
yeah, probably. But we didn't say that time value of money is riba. That is interest. Is every interest riba?
No, but then every interest riba, no, they're different.
They're a little bit different.
That's when you borrow money, right? Not like when you're paying for something.
Yeah, but see, this is considered borrowing as well. No, this is not considered borrowing. Borrowing can
That's
be.
muraba.
Yeah. See, there's no borrowing taken. We said riba is az-ziyadatu ala dayn. Any increase on a debt, right? Is there any debt taking place in this contract? Am I giving you a debt? I'm selling you a product, right? The ownership has transferred hands. Now, first the car was mine, now I give it to you. So ownership's transferred. There's no debt. I'm not giving you a debt of any thing. I'm giving you a price, and I'm telling you you will pay me this price in installments. It would be a debt. See, now even this price you are paying me in installments, right? This price itself, this is a debt, but I'm not increasing on that price anymore. Like it would be an increase on debt if I gave it to you and I said, I'm charging you 50,000 for the car, but yeah, every month you take to pay me back, for each month I'm going to charge you 5% more or 10% more. Now I'm giving you a debt and I'm telling you to pay me more on that debt.
Like late fees.
Yeah, I'm charging you a late fee. But if I'm selling you something and I'm selling you that product in installments, why is installments haram? Installments should be haram. I'm selling you a product for a price and I'm telling you that for your ease, you can pay it to me in installments. So there's no qard or there's no debt on which a profit is being made. If, for example, I sold you this in installments, 60,000 installments, 12 installments, and after the 12 installments are done, I say that on this 60,000, you have to pay me 10% more, right? This is this now is going to be, this part is interest. That part is the
What if there's a late fees, like if you couldn't pay back in like 12 months, then like
yeah, this is a very common problem as well, that a lot of people, they take a debt and then they don't pay in time. How are you going to push them to pay on time? And like in some people, they pay it back after 5 years or something. After that, the money loses its value. And this is another question. People say that if I give a qard and due to inflation, I just want my same money 5 years ago, I gave you $1,000 US, $1,000 Canadian dollars. After 5 years, it's not the same because of inflation. So can I take that money back for the inflation? Like if I take inflation into consideration, this is another point, but yeah, people take too long to pay. How do I enforce? In this, he is harming me now because we never agreed for you to be paying me after 5 years. We said after 1 year you will pay me. You haven't paid me 4 extra years. So this person has now harmed me there, right? And these things, there's a lot. The Majma al-Fiqh al-Islami, the Islamic Council, the International Islamic Council, they've discussed this. They said that in such a situation, for example, if something like this happens, then you can have many solutions, a lot of solutions. One thing can happen, one solution can be this, that I can charge a late fee, but I don't take it. I tell you that you are going to be charged a late fee, and you have to give it as a donation to this specific organization, right? Which I have no contact with. Okay, so there is a ziyada, but it is not for me. That what your late fee you are paying, it's not coming to my pocket for my qard, for my loan. You're paying it to someone else. This is one solution many have. Another solution is they say that whatever the value of money was after 1 year of a qard, like after 1 year, I said you will pay me back 1,000 Canadian dollars, but you are paying me back after 5 years, right? So the loss of value of money in those 4 years, we will take the end of the 1 year, 31st of December, we'll take that as the point of conversion. So at that point, whatever the value of money was, because that was when the date we agreed on. So you will pay me that value of money, even if it is instead of 1,000 Canadian dollars, now it's 1,300 Canadian dollars. You understand? So things like this. But these are, as I said, there's so many details on this. There's so much research being done, so much products you can produce. You have to sit and think about these as well. But sorry, wait for someone here. Go ahead. Yes. So basically, the reason why that is, again, go to the definition, az-ziyadatu ala dayn. Any increase on a loan you give to someone. When you put money in the bank, what are you doing? You're giving a loan to the bank. Yeah, it's a loan contract, by the way. You know this, right? That when you put money in the bank, it's a loan contract. They use your money to loan it to others to earn interest on it. Okay, so that contract that you will sign with them, if you read it, it will say that you are loaning, or system, our system Mariam is loaning this money to RBC Bank so that they use it for their own purpose. So that's why when you put like $1 million in the bank, let's say, and you go back to the bank after 2 days or 3 days and you tell them I want all my $1 million back, will they give it to you? They'll never give it to you because they don't have it. They have a reserve ratio where they only keep 10% of it. The rest 90% they are loaning it to businesses and making their income. That's how banks run. So you have put a loan there, and they have given you an increase on your loan, like whatever the money was there, $1 or $2, it becomes riba. So in this situation, I would say either using checking accounts is better. Like if you can avoid savings account, like I think you can because I don't have a savings account. Savings account. I have actually I do have a savings account. It's an Islamic savings account. I have it with credit union. It's very hard to find these. You have to search them. There are people who are providing them, by the way, but they are very small businesses here and there. There's a credit union, Moya Financial. It's a Serbian credit union. So check them, and they have a Sharia Islamic savings account with them. And by the way, we designed it for them. By the way, so that Islamic savings account, I keep my money there. Profit comes on it, and the system of it is different. The whole contract, how that money comes there as savings is different. In an Islamic savings account, what happens is that money you put in there is not a loan, it's an investment. But what that means is that you are actually buying stocks or shares in a business they are running. Okay, so for example, the bank may have a business of selling refrigerators, let's say. They're selling refrigerators, right? So whatever profit comes on their selling, what will happen is they tell me that, and I put 20,000 in the savings account. The refrigerator business, it took $100,000. My share was 20,000, so 20%. So if any profit comes on that, 20% of whatever the profit is, they will give it to me. So that can be lesser than the amount, can be nothing, can be anything, right? The best way to differentiate between an Islamic savings and non-Islamic savings is that see what the percentage of return is based on. If it is actually based on the money you have in the account, like if I have $100 and they're giving me 5% of the $100, this is riba. This is the biggest sign of it. And if they are telling me that we will give you 20% or 5% of the profit we receive, which we're not sure of yet, this is not riba. It's not based on the money on my account. It's based on what their business is going to make profit out of. Go ahead.
Would investing in a T-bill fund be considered?
T-bill fund, yeah. See, a T-bill is bonds, right? Treasury bills and everything. What a T-bill is that you're buying that certificate. So T-bill is just the same thing as you giving a loan to the government. So you're giving a loan to the government by buying that bond. That bond just tells you how much loan you got them. So it'll be, if you buy a T-bill of $10,000, it'll say that you loaned this much money to the government of Ontario or government of Canada, and you will get 10% return on whatever you put in. So it's just riba. Go ahead.
So making the assumption that RESP also falls under the riba category,
RSP, yes, you have to.
or RESP for education.
RESP.
Registered education savings plan.
It's another SP, but for
So
tuition.
I'm assuming that's also falling under riba. Is the beneficiary of the RESP also sinful for taking that?
No, wait, RESP, see, RRSP, it's not necessary, it's riba. See, RRSP is an investment plan, right? Depending on what the money is being invested in and what return comes on it, it will depend on that. So for example, actually,
Does RESP do?
if it depends, like, it depends on if you can choose what you want your money to be invested in that plan. So there are different types of plans. Sometimes, I don't know if they provide this or not, but like, for example, my employer in the past, they used to give us a pension plan where it was a contribution, they have different types of plans, savings plan and a contributed plan, something like this, where I could choose the shares in which I wanted my pension fund to go in. So they would tell me that these are the different companies we invest in, and this is what it is. You can, if you want, you can invest in bonds in RBC Bank, or you can invest in CIBC, or you can invest in this company, or Dell, or Hyundai, and whatnot. So I could choose. So then I would choose those ones which on the larger scale were okay. So then whatever return was coming on that, that's fine. But again, it has to be looked at. If it's, yeah, it's hard to say right now, but yeah, it has to be looked at. What product?
I'm gonna ask, you said the money you're limit based on the value of the money, is that based on gold or the current reserve currency?
Again.
So you said that if someone were to return money after like 5 years, he would return the value of that money after that 5 years. And is that value of money based on like gold or relative to?
Yeah. So someone else asked this question as well. They said that, for example, if I want it's a smart technique. Some people were saying that, see, if I want to loan you money, right? But I want to protect myself from inflation. I tell you that your name, brother? Omar. So I say, Omar, I'm gonna lend you 1 ounce of gold, but convert it to Canadian dollars, whatever it is, right? Convert it to Canadian dollars, whatever that amount is, I'm gonna give you that. But my loan is in gold. So then I tell you that after 1 year is done, I tell you, all right, now calculate how much is 1 ounce of gold. And then I tell you that now it's 1,500. I'm like, pay me 1,500, right? So I have just pegged myself for inflation. I did that, and it's kind of a trick, but this is not permissible. See, one thing one has to understand, that a qard in Islam, a qard cannot be used as a business tool. Why? Because the whole concept of a qard, of a loan, was that it should be to help people, right? And not to take anything from them in return. That's why even if inflation takes place, do you think we are not aware of that? Or do you think the Prophet ﷺ was not aware of that? Yeah. Because inflation takes place, the Prophet has told us about riba al-fadl and riba al-nasiya, which we didn't discuss. But it shows that they were well aware of inflation. And it shows that all the ulama, because even in those books that you study of 1,000 years ago, of Ibn Daqiq al-Eid or anyone, all of those scholars, they have mentioned inflation. So this means that they weren't unaware of this process. But the thing is that when I'm giving you a loan, my objective should be to help you. If I cannot afford that inflation, then give a short-term loan. I'll give it for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, if I can't afford the inflation. But if my objective should not be that I'm trying to make some money out of you, or if I cannot afford helping someone because I know that I'm going to take some loss in it, then either don't help or help as much as you think that you are capable of taking that loss. This is what it should be. But yeah, that you can't do that because a loan will be exactly on what you get. If you get Canadian dollars, this was the loan. This was the loan. This currency was the loan. If I actually gave you physically gold, then yes, you will return it to me in gold. So that's probably. Go ahead.
Sorry, back to the lottery ticket. Sorry. So I gift lottery ticket. When I get the proceeds, all of the proceeds from the lottery ticket are from a haram source, as
Not
in
necessarily.
selling lottery tickets. If that makes sense. I know my understanding of lotteries is that they pull in all the prices of the tickets and then they do their risk analysis and then they give out a payout in a way that they maintain a profit. So
Yeah.
all the proceeds from a gift lottery ticket would be from a haram source, which is lottery tickets.
See, lottery tickets are not always issued just from a company that deals in lottery tickets. Like for example, there are a lot of companies that give lottery tickets just for you to deal with them, even though they are selling cars even. Like my car is from Hyundai. The Hyundai just like 2-3 weeks ago emailed me a lottery ticket. They gave me a lottery ticket. Their main source of income is cars.
Yeah. In that case, I'm buying a product, I get into a raffle or whatever, Hyundai, but getting a gift from a major lottery seller, that's all of my proceeds are definitely from a haram source.
Maybe, well, of course, like you are to some extent right, but it's hard to comprehend a situation right now. But if that is true, if someone is providing the lottery tickets and all their income or majority of their income is haram, if they are even gifting me money, I should take. As we'll go back to that same rule. But again, look at whoever the lottery is from, the ticket is from, so you can use some thought there. Wait, let me take that one straight away. Go ahead.
Sorry, but if you have, money in your savings account
Waiting for the second session in front of
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, you can't throw it out. You're throwing it out, scares me. But the thing is, you get a lot of scholars that just donate it. But give it to someone who needs a donation fund or anything that you might have. But how do you know all of this coming from? It's very hard to tell it. If you feel that their minority investment was like interest or a lot of their income is all interest or major portion of it, then you should consider it, depends whatever it is. But you understood the principle. The principle is that if something you know very well that coming around benefiting you, then it shouldn't be allowed to take it. But again, you have to look at the situation itself, like what are the investments, what's coming in. Yeah, but you're on the right track. What you're thinking is right.
Yeah, I was just going to say we have time for one more question, inshallah. Then we have to conclude the event.
Okay.
Yep.
So you mentioned you have a shared second account and you share the profit of what the company. How would this be again, let's say, invest these companies directly or invest in the fund?
How this is different is if you invest directly, right? The biggest difference here is that in an Islamic bank, it works as a broker or an agent, or it works as an investment fund, a management fund. where they are taking up the difficulty or the whole process of finding investments, finding businesses to invest in, pooling up different companies in which they can invest in. If you want to do it yourself, you can. In other words, you have just eliminated the middleman. But why do you put money in a bank? Because it's hard to manage it, right? Or it's hard to take care of all that money and everything. So you are basically an Islamic bank, and an Islamic bank is actually an investment bank. It invests. That is their main source of income. So it just makes it easier for you. That's what it is. That you just tell them that here's my money, just invest it in whatever you are doing and give me my profit. That's what you're doing. You are a partner with them. It's kind of a mudaraba contract. Mudaraba contract means that where I don't do any work, but I put money in. So I'm a silent partner. I say, I'll give you the money that you need to do business, do whatever. So that's basically what I'm doing. Yeah, last question.
In that case, do preferred shares, because do preferred shares count as the riba, or do they count as this?
Preferred shares are count as riba as well.
Okay.
Because in preferred shares, if you see the common shares are fine if it's a proper company, but preferred shares, you're on the right track. It also gives you a fixed return. It depends though. If the preferred share is a share which says that you will get a fixed dividend after this much time or every month or stuff like that, and they're paying you a fixed amount every month, then it shouldn't be it's not permissible. It falls under the same thing like a bond.
Okay.
But sometimes some preferred shares, they don't give dividends. They just say that all it is going to be is that in the end, if the company is dissolved, preferred shares will get they will get a bigger portion, or they will get their return of the business assets. They will get it before the common shareholders, right? So you preferred shares, not everyone knows, but the point is, if it's like this, then that preferred share is fine. So you have to see these things you have to read the contract. That what is this preferred share? Is it giving me fixed return, or is it just dividend in the end if the company is dissolved? Anyways, this is at the end of it. I would just end by saying that this is our academy in Winter. We established this academy, me and my friends. We teach Islamic finance and all these things. If you guys can, I would really appreciate it. If you guys can donate to it, it'll be great. It helps us grow and do a lot because the only source we do is through donations. We don't have enough money to do it ourselves. You can check our website as well. So we have like, mashallah, 500 to $1,000 students. But like right now, what I taught you guys, if you think that this is like something Muslims need, or this is maybe something what many Muslims, scholars or teachers are not teaching or should be taught, then definitely donate, because this is what we teach. This is what we're doing to give people more knowledge about practical situations and how to Islamic understanding of it. And of course, you will get a tax receipt for it. And if you donate before 28th of Feb, you can use that tax receipt to your 2024 tax return as well. I know I can file your taxes if you want, so you can contact me as well. You can contact me right there. Need your tax returns filed. But anyways, when you e-transfer, you might see my name, Syed Sabih, because it's going to my foundation, and then I'm transferring it to Islamic Academy Windsor. But it is guaranteed it will go to Islamic Academy Windsor, because within a week or two, you will get the full tax receipt for your full amount. The reason why I take it first in our academy and then we send it, because we just have, us all 4 or 5 members, we have a yearly quota that we try to see that we meet our target. So I have to collect donations, others have to collect donations. So when it comes to me, and I transfer it, they know that, okay, this much was from mine, that this was collected by Sabih and that whatnot. So please definitely do. And if when you are e-transferring, please mention in the messages that IAW, just say IAW in that, so that I know that you track this donation is for IAW. And I guess that's pretty much it. And that's my email. If you have any more questions, you can always email me as well. Take my laptop. Everyone, just one last thing. First of all, Jazakallah khair, Sheikh, for the insightful talk. Question: who wants to have a part 2? Do a part two, do a part. Okay, part two, inshallah. Here we go, inshallah, part two. And one last thing, we do have one last announcement related to, money. But,
Yeah, if you guys are interested in topics that you guys would really sign up for Shark Tank, that's gonna be happening on February 16th around the afternoon time. I really implore you guys to, come and you guys are gonna actually build a business and your first product in an hour and actually present it to a bunch of judges and start like,